So a question I get asked all the time is, where do I get my cars from? How am I able to switch my cars so often? And I thought I'd just take a bit of time to talk to you about the company I use. Now, it's a company that's been around for a while. They used to be called EVZ, but last year they rebranded and they are now called On.To. Now, they're not your traditional lease company. They're what's called a subscription. So what this means is, unlike a lease where you have to take for a minimum amount of time, the minimum period with On.To is 1 month. So you only ever have a 1 month contract. So what that allows is for you to keep the car for as long or as short as you need, down to your needs at the time. Especially now during this last year of lockdown, where people just aren't driving as much. Those people who've locked themselves in for 3-4 year leases or finance deals have got a car sat on their driveway that they're paying for, which they weren't using. Whereas with On.To, it allows you to give the car back if you're not going to use it for a month, or if you're not going to use it for 2 months. You can just send it back, and then when you need the car again, you can just book it and have it for another month. The other great thing is that there's no deposit involved, you know. So people say, well, why don't you, if you only need a car for a short period, why not go and hire one from a traditional rental company? Well, for one, traditional rental companies are very expensive for anything over 1 or 2 weeks, and likely the equivalent cost that you're paying on a On.To 1 month rental could be could be 2 weeks, or even as little as 1 week's traditional car rental. But also on top of that, with a car rental company, you've got to then go and you've got to put a deposit down, a security deposit, etc, etc. None of that is with On.To. Same with leasing. People say, well, it's cheaper if you lease. Well, let me break this down for you. I've done a few comparisons on the cars that I've had. Now, when you first go onto the On.To site and it lists all the cars they've got and their cost, people think, oh, that's a bit expensive. Because what they've done is that they've looked at lease prices and the adverts that say, oh, well, you know, get this car, it's only £300 a month or £200 a month. And then there's loads of small print at the bottom. Now, what that small print is the fact that these lease companies will charge you a minimum of 3 months deposit up front, and they will lock you in for a minimum of 3 years. And on top of that, those prices that they quote in all these adverts are for the minimum amount of miles. So you could find that, you know, some of these lease deals that look really good, you're getting 6,000 miles a year. Now with On.To, you get, I'll list everything you get included in that price, and it is one of those things that price you see is what you pay. There's no extras on top or anything. So firstly, you get the 1 month hire of the car or lease of the car. That includes your insurance, that includes any maintenance, tax, everything like that, that's included. It also includes 1,000 miles a month, which I find is ample for most people. And if you do feel that you're going to go over 1,000 miles, you can buy miles packages on top, which works out a lot cheaper than just going over that 1,000 miles and paying. The other thing is as well with On.To is the charging. Now with On.To you get free charging at both BP networks and the Shell networks, Polar and that. Now if you go onto their website, you can click the link and it will show you all the different charger stations and the companies that are associated with this, Shell, BP, Polar, etc., that you can use. So if, you know, depending on where you live, if you've got these chargers local to you, or even if they're not local, if they're within your journey and that, you can plan it and never have to pay for charging your car, which is massive. You know, that makes a massive difference. So, you know, in a nutshell, I've been with On.To now for over 6 months, and I've had 3 cars from them, and I've had no issue with the company. Even last week, as you'll know if you've seen my other videos, that my brand new Hyundai Ioniq died after 24 hours. Customer services were fantastic. They have been dealing with it. In the meantime, they covered all of my expenses with regards to taxi journeys, etc. And the car was reported on the Wednesday of being dead, and by Friday I had another brand new Hyundai Ioniq delivered to my door, and they've taken the other car away, and they couldn't have been any more helpful. Now you're all thinking, oh well, you know, you're probably getting something back for this. Well, no, I'm not, but I do get asked, you know, how can I have an EV? Or the other thing is that people who have always driven a standard petrol or diesel engine cars are toying with the fact of, shall I have an EV? You know, shall we move to EV? Will it work for me? And the last thing you want to do is go and tie yourself in for a 3-year contract and then find out after a couple of months down the line that it just doesn't really work for you in your situation. But by then you can't do nothing about it, you're tied in. So with On.To, even if you don't plan to stay with them long term, it's a fantastic way of introducing yourself to electric vehicles. Or not even just that, if you are thinking of, say, buying a Hyundai Ioniq, it's all good and well watching these review videos and everything, but nothing really replaces getting in a car and driving it for everyday use. Now you can go to dealers and you can get test drives, and some of them, you know, you can even have it for a weekend, but you can never tell in that time whether it's going to work for your family. So, you know, take out a 1-month subscription, drive it as much as you want, try it out for everything, and then you can make the decision then whether that car's good for you. Also, in the description below you'll see a referral code, and if you use that, that will actually give you £50 off of your first month, so makes it even cheaper for you to take a car for a month. All in all, you know, there are other companies out there. I can't vouch for any of them because I've not used them, but definitely look into On.To. They have a very good range of cars. They're always adding new vehicles to the fleet, and once you add up all the different costs and then you look at the price, you'll see that you will not get an equivalent deal, or if you do get an equivalent deal, it's very close, but you're tied in. So, you know, I hope this helps you and is informative, and, you know, hopefully some people out there will think, well, yeah, I've always fancied an electric car, but I don't want to weigh out that massive expense and then not like it. Look up On.To. You can get the car delivered straight from their website. You can book the day of delivery. It tells you what days they can deliver to you, and then you can choose morning or afternoon, and just give it a whirl. Get in the car, drive it around for a month. If you love it, you can just renew on a monthly basis, or you can do like I do, you can switch over and say, oh, I fancy trying something different this month. Or as I said earlier, you can then make the decision that actually I want to be a long-term owner of an electric car and go and buy the vehicle outright or finance it directly from a dealer. So this is my unbiased view from the point that I'm not getting paid for this. This is just me letting you know my experiences. But look them up. You'll find in the description below will be the link and the referral codes and that. They've got a very good community as well. If you go on the website and click the community tab, they've got a very good forum where you can ask even more questions from other people who use the company. And I hope that it helps you in your journey into an electric car. And I've now, for 6 months, I've been driving electric cars and I've got nothing but good things to say about them, and I don't plan anytime soon to go back to a normal petrol or diesel. It suits me perfectly well, and I like the ability that after a couple of months, if I get bored, I can just swap the car and get another new car delivered to me. It's just great, and I hope you're staying safe and are enjoying the videos. If you do, please subscribe and hit the like button. Smash the notification bell so you know when I'll be uploading my next videos.